I heard about a little girl named Lucy, 5 years old, who saw something about George Floyd's death on television. Her mom found her on the front porch of their house coloring. Lucy looked at her mom and said, "I think it's important that we go meet our neighbors. I want my neighbors to know my name. I want to know their name. I'm going to take this big piece of white paper and my crayons. I'm going to introduce myself and ask them to write their name on my paper so that they'll know where I live and they can come and get me if they ever need help." So the next day she got up, got her crayons and her poster-sized piece of white paper and dragged her mom up and down the street, meeting all the neighbors. In spite of COVID, she would not be deterred. At each house she would say, "My name is Lucy and I am your neighbor. Will you please write your name on my poster so that I will know who you are? If you need help, you come and get me and I will help you." This went on all through the next few weeks until she had visited all the houses nearby. Her mom said that as she walked with her daughter, she was embarrassed that she had never, after 7 years of living there, tried to get to know these neighbors other than just to wave from the car. But she said her daughter would not be deterred. She got to know them well enough to find out that there were 3 teenagers who would babysit. There was a woman who would teach Lucy how to play the harp. She also learned how to make blueberry jam. When Jacob Blake was shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Lucy's response was, "Mom, I think we need to go and meet some more neighbors." Years ago, I was stranded in the woods or the bush in Africa in a broken down Land Rover with a man who was a Maasai native shepherd. He was about 6 feet 5 inches tall and he was shirtless. He had on a loincloth with a big mallet stuck in his belt to help him protect us from the sheep and from the lions. I was left there after my translator went to town to see if we could get a rescue party organized for our van, for our Land Rover. I was frightened, I was terrified of being out there in the middle of nowhere, no cell phone, millions of miles away from home. As far as I could tell, this man spoke only Swahili and I'd never seen him smile. After a very uncomfortable hour of silence, he suddenly turned to me, this giant stranger, and said in very broken English, "You have children in America, in your family, yes?" And in a moment, in an instant, I realized that we were much more alike than we were different, and that this man was indeed my neighbor. Jesus tells a story about a woman who is stoned by people who are just completely convinced that they are right. He stops them and says to the crowd, "Let the person here without sin throw the first stone." Of course, they go away because none of them can meet that standard. They're all guilty. And then he turns to the woman and he says, "Your sins are forgiven. Now go and sin no more." I read somewhere that at the foot of the cross, all ground is level. Jesus forgives us all because we all need forgiveness desperately every day. None of us is immune. All of us has faults and broken places and things that we need to turn over to God. We live in an incredibly divided world. We hear about it everywhere. Our rhetoric is heated, insulting, destructive. It seems like calling names and blaming each other is our first choice, but that reinforces hate and encourages the parts of us that want to be divided to grow. Jesus' love will always encourage us to be one, to be unified, and to love each other above all else. We're called to work together, and we're especially called to work together to build the kingdom. Whenever we work together to get to know our neighbors, the kingdom is revealed. Let's all make plans to get to know and love our neighbors better. Let's remain calm. Let's say our prayers in the days ahead. Let's not take matters into our own hands. Let's leave the division in God's hands and do everything we can to let God bring justice and healing and peace. Thank you.